All right, and we are live. It is Saturday. There's a lot going on right now. Actually, a lot of decent football games. I was really happy to see the Vanderbilt game. The Vanderbilt game was actually really interesting. They're doing some good things. They're kind of doing a little bit of almost a little bit of T-bowing, I want to say, in that they're running a lot. Quarterback's running a lot. It was a fun game to watch. My UVA Cavaliers are starting to actually playing right now. They just did kickoff. So I know that there's a lot of football going on, but I'm grateful for everyone that's here. The main point of the live, kind of the overarching theme, is whether or not I should get the Capital One Venture X. And so my wife is definitely the one who would be kind of the person applying for this card, and she's definitely said that she's fine with it. So I'm not like one of those, manipulate player two people. So don't at me, all of you people. But yeah. So product change is still possible. The only problem with that is that my Saver card has a credit limit of, I think it's like 3,500, and then my Venture has a credit limit of 4,500. And despite the fact that I've been putting thousands of dollars to spend a month on my Venture card, they have not approved me for a credit limit increase. And so I do have a Visa Quicksilver that could potentially product change if I ever got a high enough credit limit. But that would be the only kind of question, is I need to get that credit limit increase. So we'll see what happens. I have been closing a lot of different cards recently, just because I just they haven't really fit in, and to be honest, I needed to close a couple. I think I have like 40 something open right now, and it's a big difference, right? The credit limit, I think it has to be at least 10,000 because of the Visa Infinite requirement. At least I know that's true on Chase's side. So I'm not sure if that's actually. I'll actually move everything over to my Quicksilver to see if I could actually do that. That might trigger an interesting product change. But I think it does have to be 10,000, at least on the Chase side. Maybe I'm just misinformed. But anyway, but yeah. So I currently have the Venture card, and oh, is it an internet? Okay, well, there we go. All right. I don't need to. I don't need to worry about that then. I might actually do that then. But currently, I have the Venture card, and on paper, it's a solid card. It was more of a solid card last year. So I have this is mine now. This is actually the plastic one. It's kind of gross. I don't like it, but I got it because I actually had the Walmart card. So the original Walmart card that was issued by Capital One, I had that one, and I product changed that one once they shut that down, and then it ended up going to a Quicksilver card. And I already had one, and I was like, I don't really want this. But fortunately for me, they actually offered a product change pretty quickly after that. And so that was really quite amazing for me, because I was able to product change to the Venture card, which I kind of wanted anyway for a couple of reasons. So this happened last year. And the first reason was because I knew my wife and I were going overseas. And so I wanted to have a really good card that had no foreign transaction fees, but was an American Express. And so I would be able to use this card kind of wherever, regardless of whether or not my main kind of primary cards were accepted. And so the Venture card was kind of one that I was really interesting. Yeah, so the Capital One buckets is an interesting question, right? And so, I definitely started my Capital One career very not in an advantageous position on my side, right? So so essentially, basically, I wasn't able to, do really well. So my first card was a Capital One Platinum card. I think I had like a $300 or $400 credit limit, so that was definitely bucketed, right? But my Quicksilver card, I definitely wasn't smart about it, right? I kind of went up to the limit, but they kept increasing my limits over time, especially when I started actually paying it down. They would actually increase my limit. And so, like, I feel like I've kind of escaped the bucket a little bit. They did give me, I think it was like as high as a 5,500 credit limit on my Walmart card. And then I kind of moved some of that limit to my Saver card. But yeah, so the buckets, that's true, right? It seems to me that it's very easy to escape the buckets, or at least those low credit limits, if you're willing to carry a balance on that card. Because when I did carry balances on all of my Capital One cards a couple years ago, so like 5 or 6 years ago, I discovered that that's when my credit limits increased like substantially. And so, like Capital One, they really reward you when you're giving them lots of money, which I understand from a business perspective. It's a little predatory. It feels little predatory. But yeah, like, and so like I'm not doing any of the things that Capital One has, in the past kind of rewarded, right? So I'm not carrying balances. I'm not really spending that much, like, especially on my Saver card, because I use my gold card a lot. I'm also working on my Mesa card because there's a kind of a bonus of 50,000 points that we're working on. And so, that's all that's going on. But so I don't know if you can hear anything in the background, but I literally just found out about 5 minutes ago that the baby that we're going to be adopting is actually a boy. So my wife is calling a bunch of people, kind of figuring that out. And now I have told 13 people on the internet. So thanks so much for being here. So no, I don't actually have the Venture X. I have the Venture card here. And basically, Capital One is really targeting my wife very hard. It's because she doesn't actually have a Capital One card. She only has on her own, she has a Delta Blue card, a personal one there. And then she has a Southwest, the Plus one. And then she got a Chase Sapphire Preferred recently. And so those are the only three credit cards that she has right now. We've been most of the points that I've been earning has been on me. And so if based on everything I know, she seems like a shoo-in. They're targeting her for the Quicksilver as well as the Saver card. They haven't sent her anything for the Venture X card, but we did go kind of through the pre-approval, and it says she was pre-approved. We just haven't pulled the trigger yet because, I mean, 395 is definitely not as bad, right, as the 895, as the American Express Platinum card, but it is high, right? Especially when we have the platinum card, the business platinum, the Aspire, the Ritz-Carlton card, the gold card, the business gold card. It's adding up, right? And so the 395, right? It's easy to get value from, specifically because we do actually do pretty much we do pretty much actually get a lot of value from Capital One miles because we love transferring to Air France, we love transferring to Virgin, and so there's a lot of stuff going on there, right? But yeah, thank you so much, Enrique. Yeah, so we're pretty excited. It's gonna be there's a lot of change going on. We're actually gonna be moving. We've decided that this is gonna be the nursery, and now that we know that it's a boy, the Ralph Lauren theme gets to stay, which means you probably don't have to repaint this room, which is gonna be good. But yeah, so we're excited about that. Thank you so much. All right, Capital One told me no for credit limit increase on my Saver card for years, and then out of the blue, 3 weeks ago, they increased me another 2,500. So I'm at 10,000 for the Saver. Okay, that's really good to know because that's okay. So that's actually really good to know because I've seen on Reddit. I think it was maybe August or something. I think I did a video about they were kind of just randomly giving credit limit increases, and so I actually applied for one. And when I applied for a credit limit increase, they didn't tell me that I wasn't eligible. They were just telling me that I wasn't spending enough on the card. So I started spending more and more on the card. So we'll see if they do that. We'll see. We'll see. All right, Kevin, in the long term, I'll maybe get more than 5 card, but in the short term, I only get 1 card to build my credit score. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Honestly, I feel like if I wasn't such a crazy person with credit cards, the grand scheme of things, my everyday wallet only has a couple of cards in it, right? I have my Capital One Duo I carry with me, and then I have my gold card, my Business Plus card, and then I also carry. Let's see. Just kind of the other cards I carry are kind of just all over the place. Sometimes I'll carry my Ritz-Carlton, mainly because they actually have a lot of really good Chase offers on that card. My wife and I recently went to Outback and we got 10% off for using that. And then I actually found out that they had a bonus earning category for dining for this month that I wasn't even aware of. And so that was really nice. But yeah, no, so Chase is really good. Oh, that's actually, okay. So that's a good question. So Kevin is asking, what is my highest credit limit on one credit card? And so that's actually really fascinating. So if you took a look at probably just individual credit lines without taking a look at charge cards, right? I would have to say my Blue Business Plus card with American Express has a 28,000 credit line right now, and that's my highest by a pretty substantial amount. My second highest, at least my highest personal, would be my Amazon Prime card that has 22,000 on it, And then for the business platinum card, my pay over time limit for that is actually $60,000. And so I actually put 28,000 on it a couple months ago, and that just went through. I was like, wow, that's great. I never put $28,000 on a credit card before. But yeah, that was. But yeah, so what's your highest credit limit? It's definitely not Capital One for me. Discover's actually been pretty good for me though. I think I have 12,000 and then 8,000 on one. And so, Discover's been pretty good for me, but Chase has actually been really good, surprisingly. I have across my three cards, I have about, I want to say like 45,000 in credit limits. But yeah, all right. At KRS says actually my saver is 12,000, so I guess they gave me a $4,500 credit limit increase. Wow, that's amazing. I'm so glad to hear that. That's incredible. Oh, and okay, there you go. So we have 50,000 for Venture X. Okay, someone is a baller over here. And that's the thing, honestly, with my wife, if she does apply for this card, I think that she will do pretty high to that because her exposure, at least with credit limits, is not that high, but our combined household income is, is a decent amount to where, credit limits like that are not inconceivable, right? I think she got an Ink Unlimited recently, which it doesn't, report to her personal credit card or personal credit. But that one, I think they gave her 25,000 or something. And so we might get that. Yeah, honestly, I want to. We fly into DC at least probably once a year, and so the Venture X with the personal, I think the business side is a charge card, but I think the personal side is a credit card, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know actually for sure because I don't actually hold either one of them. But yeah, that's a great question, Mike. I do know that the business version is for sure a charge card. I'm not sure about the personal though. Filmo here, VentureX credit limits are ridiculous. Mine is 40,000. Wife is 35,000. Okay, wow. So Filmo, you actually you got a VentureX and your wife got a VentureX. Okay. Honestly, that kind of makes sense because that $300 credit, the travel credit is relatively easy to use, right? If you're just going to travel, even for a staycation once a year, you can use that. Question for you, Filmo, though. Is there a way for you to combine those? So like for one trip, you're able to use your 300 and then her 300. That would be interesting to know if we were able to find that out. Okay, Background Balloon, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you, Background. You're amazing. You're probably one of my greatest attendees, actually. KRS is 1905. Isn't the business venture X the charger? I think that's what it is. I'm not entirely sure. 20,000 from BECU. Oh, awesome. That's amazing. That's yeah. The credit union credit limits are usually pretty high. I think my largest one so I got my USAA Rewards American Express card a couple of years ago. So this one I think is like 4 or 5 years old, and this one was my highest credit limit to date. It was 15,000, and I thought that was really good at the time. I was really impressed with it. I actually got it for a balance transfer, but yeah, no, the credit union cards are really great. I've been trying to get a Fairwinds credit card. I actually applied for it, and they won't give it to me. But honestly, I feel like I've opened 21 cards so far this year, so I don't blame them for it. Background Balloon, business is a charge card, personal's right. Okay. That is weird, though, that there would be that much of a difference between the personal and the business version. Although the business version, that's the one that had that huge sign-up bonus, right? It was like 300,000 points, but you had to spend a lot. I think, was it like $100,000 or something in a year for that, or like something crazy high? I forgot exactly what it was. Kevin Wynn says, my dad is about 5,000 on Wells Fargo Active Cash. My mom is about 8,100 on a Costco card or old Wells Fargo Cashwise card. Okay, cool. The Costco card I have seen a lot of. Like a lot of members of my family actually have the Costco card. And they actually, one member of my family, sorry, I'm going to move my camera a little bit. She actually uses it as her daily driver. And she's pretty impressed, actually. So, because she goes to Costco a decent amount. And so, basically, once a year, she gets like a month's worth of things completely free. And that's kind of how she does credit cards, which is actually really great. But yeah, no, that's a really solid point, Kevin. Thanks for bringing that up. Filmo, last year we booked flights with the credit. I booked the one. Okay, yeah, that's smart. So Filmo, while you're here, when we're talking about credits, it kind of reminds me because right now I have the personal platinum and the business platinum. My personal platinum renews in February. My business platinum renews in April. And I'm trying to figure out. So my wife and I are traveling to Edinburgh, Scotland next November, and we're trying to figure out how to maximize our thing because we're not just paying for ourselves, but another couple is going with us, and we're actually going to be trying to use points and miles to put up and bring essentially a nanny, like a babysitter. And so we're trying to figure out like if I used this quarter or this 6 months credits for the business platinum and the platinum, and then next year I use it, and then if I downgrade it, would that credit, I guess a credit really can't go away. I just better hope I don't have to cancel the room or something. But yeah. But Mike, yeah, no, great question. My velocity will not let me. Every time I do a pre-approval, it's pretty much just you can have the Quicksilver for good credit. They did give me the Venture One for good credit. Well, they gave me the offer of the Venture One, and so yeah, no, you're definitely right there. This is solely for my wife. She has opened 3 personal credit cards in the last 30 something years, right? So that's kind of where we're at. So my wife would be doing it. And the thing that I like about Capital One, and so my wife and I, our finances are fairly separate, except for our business accounts are the same. And basically pretty much all we do is like, okay, we owe these bills this month. This is going to come, I can cover this much, she can cover this much. So like our spending accounts are the same, but like where things are going in are still kind of separated. And so that's kind of interesting. But I love that Capital One, I can make her an account owner on the card. She can see all the charges. She can move all the points around, which means I think what I'm going to do is if she does get the Venture X card, I'm going to move my Venture to the Saver card, close my previous Saver card because that's only about a year and a half, a little bit over a year old. And I think I'm going to do that. And that way, everything we earn on my Saver card, I can transfer to her Venture X, and then, we can just transfer out those points. Like that's kind of in my mind where I'm seeing that go. Right. So that's the question. So basically, the reason why we haven't gotten it yet is because we're currently working on 2 sign-up bonuses. So we're working on a sign-up bonus. Let's see if I have it here. My base Hilton card. So, and this one isn't that much. It's $2,000 for 6 months. But we're also working on our Mesa card. So it's not a sign-up bonus. It's a referral bonus. You had to refer 2 people, and then you could get you had to spend $10,000 over 3 months for 50,000 points, which it's not the best that I've ever done, but considering I can't really open up a card right now, it's, not bad, right? And so we're about halfway through there. And so, the 10,000 over 3 months is kind of, it's not stretching us, right? It's like, but we're having to be deliberate about all of our spend is going on that card. And so we're going to have to wait in order to actually get it. And so we're just trying to figure out if we want to do that, because again, 395 is a decent chunk of change, at least off the bat. But great question, QC, man. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Enrique Gonzalez, credit unions are great for building solid cashback setups. When I'm not going after travel points, I fall back on them. Yeah, exactly. Honestly, like the Fairwinds credit card is huge. A lot of everybody loves the Navy Federal Credit Union cards. They're amazing. Yeah, honestly, I haven't seen a credit. Well, actually, no, that's not true. So my car loan is with it's called Space Coast Credit Union. So it's over in Brevard County by Cape Canaveral. And the reason why I did them is they were a full percentage point cheaper than Capital One or Chase when it came to the car loan. And so we went with them. And they keep sending me emails for credit cards, and it's like you can have a 1.5% cashback card for and it's up to like I think it's like up to $1,000 in spend a month or something. It's like something stupid. Like I would never ever do it. Even if I was cash back, like that would still be kind of a bad card. And so there's those kind of credit union cards, but some of these credit unions are really kind of blowing it out of the park, right? I feel like the Redstone one, if you're still able to apply for it, is still kind of decent, honestly. And so there's that. Yeah, and Sleepy Rod brings up a really great point here, right? I don't think you need the Venture X since you have the Ritz. So yeah, so I have the Ritz Carlton card, which gives me, right, the lounge access with that, and then I have the access to the Chase Sapphire Lounge, and then I got the Centurion Club, Delta Sky Clubs with my Platinum card. I have a lot of lounge options, but my wife and I, we fly into DCA and out of DCA at least once, maybe twice per year, because she travels there for work every once in a while. And then it's where we met and where I used to live. And she has a couple of friends that live there too. And so, I really like going to that lounge would be cool. And so I could get a lot of use out of it. Well, a lot of use. I could go twice a year for lounges. So even if we did get it, I would get the authorized user card, but I probably even wouldn't enable lounge access for myself, just because she would get in for free, and then I would pay the fee, just because I feel like going to a Jose Andres restaurant is worth $35 for the two of us. I don't mind paying the fee for that. Definitely not going to pay I think the whatever the fee is for the year, just because then we feel like we have to go. So pay per use for that is not terrible for me. Kevin Wynn, I mean, not publicly available anymore, but my mom is grandfather into car like old Saver. Oh, that is nice. I actually saw one in the wild. So my wife and I, we were in Northern Virginia, so like closer to Manassas, and we were at a Target, and there was a metal Saver card, and it looked good. And like I asked him, I was like, what's is that the Saver card with the annual fee? He's like, yeah. And he's like, I use it all the time. It's like, because it's 4x, right? I would pay that annual fee for that 100%. And honestly, if they ever did do a Saver X, I would pay. I would pay for that. I like Capital One. Capital One is good. The only thing I don't like is that their customer service is bad, right? If you have to interact with them, it's going to be as frustrating as working with Citi. You got to say it, right? Because it's true. But the calls to actually interact with customer service at Capital One seem to be far fewer, at least from what I've seen. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that one. But yeah, no, that's really solid. I love that card. I wish I had it. Costco just got a little bit better with their categories increasing. Oh, that's nice. I did not realize that. So it sounds like with you having that card, I've heard. So I think it's what, 5% back on gas. Is that just at Costco, or is it at all gas stations? I've heard someone ask that, but I don't know if I know the answer to that. Eduardo Vargas, I got the Venture One through pre-approval portal, 824. That's amazing. Yeah, the Venture One, I feel like they're kind of throw at anybody. Now, Eduardo, did you get the sign-up bonus for that? Because that's what, 25,000 points, which honestly would be good, right? That's potentially two premium economy seats to England on Virgin Atlantic, right? That's not a bad sign-up bonus for a no annual fee card. The Venture One is it's kind of the GOAT, honestly. The Venture One, like if you're looking for a no annual fee setup, you can do the Quicksilver for your catch-all, the Saver card for everything the Saver card's good for, and then just transfer everything to the Venture One card, because it's still one-to-one to all those transfers. Like that's something that's like Citi has even changed. Like you have to pay an annual fee in order to get one-to-one transfers to a lot of those transfer partners. But Capital One, Venture One is still kind of good. QC Man, Costco card also has no foreign transaction fee, so it can be used overseas. You can use it at Canadian Costco's, even though there are MasterCards set up. Interesting. Okay. I did not know that. I also didn't even know that Canada had Costco, so I guess I'm kind of a little uninitiated there. Speaking of Canada, there was recently a change with the Canadian American Express. And I don't know if you noticed this, but in the United Kingdom versions of the American Express cards, they recently changed or like reduced the limit of how many points you can earn with spending on that. So I feel like American Express is really starting to tighten the reins a little bit globally. They haven't done so here yet, but well, that would be frustrating if that were true. All right, Kevin, my mom used a Costco card for Costco gas and normal gas in Costco. Sometime restaurants and travel, Wells Fargo Active Cash and Wise Card, Cash Wise Card for other purchases. Okay, great. Yeah, so that's really, that's solid. The Costco card is great. I think the only reason I don't like it is like the feel, because if it if I remember correctly, that's the one that it's essentially you have to, they send you a check at the end of the year and you can only use it at Costco. Is that right? Because that feels a little restrictive to me. Like, yeah, sure, you can do it, but and they throw it at you every time I go into that Costco. Like, they will literally like give you one of those like insulated tote bags if you sign up for the Costco card. Like, we want you to have these things, right? So in about 8 bookings, the only FHR place that asked me for my platinum card was the Dolphin. Just he kind of doesn't, yeah. So I think the Dolphin is a one of them is a Westin property, and the other one is a Sheraton. I think the Dolphin is the Sheraton property, at least on the back end. But yeah, no, Disney's got a Disney. I stayed at the Dolphin. I stayed at the Swan. I actually really liked the Swan. Just felt more peaceful because it was it's a slightly smaller property. The lobby's not as fun, but you still get access to all the cool restaurants and everything. Calder's just downgraded my Venture X to the Venture One. Will hopefully reallocate some credit limit to my Saver One. Okay, yeah, that's smart. Yeah. So is this the Saver One that has the annual fee, or is it the old is it the actual Saver card with no annual fee? Because I've seen actually, so I did a video about where I called the Saver One with an annual fee. Capital One's worst card. And I did get a little bit of pushback from that. A lot of people were saying that all things being equal, they'd rather earn rewards as opposed to not earning rewards, like because it was either going to be the Saver One card or like the Platinum card with Capital One, where they weren't really going to give you anything. And so that's a good question. That's a good point. That's a good card. All right, Mike Newland. With Capital One, you can move your credit limits around within your own cards. Absolutely, but you can't move it like from right. Yeah. So yeah, that exactly. I've done that quite a bit. In fact, my Quicksilver card used to have $2,500, and now I moved it down to 500 was the minimum that it would let me carry on that, and then I moved it to everything else. So I have I can put like a month's spend on just my Capital One cards if I wanted to. But then I'd have to use my actual, then I'd just have to use Capital One cards, which honestly, like, it's just, you earn more with, Amex and even some of these city cards. And speaking of city cards, we have the rewards master. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you. For those of you that weren't here when we first started, so right, like literally the same minute that the live stream was supposed to begin, I actually found out that the baby that we're adopting is going to be a boy. So I'm really excited about this. So I will be moving to a different studio because this is going to be the nursery, and yeah, so we're excited about that. But thanks so much for being here, everybody. Kevin Wynn, the CashWise card earns 1.5% on everything, but the active cash can earn 2% on everything. She don't want to get other credit cards. Another problem is just you don't care about credit card rewards. Yeah. So I honestly, I'm very lucky. My wife is amazing with that. The only thing with her is that she doesn't want for it to be a stress thing, right? Because she actually has a high powered like media executive job. She makes tons of decisions in a day. She does not want which credit card do I use to be a decision that she makes. And I totally get that, right? I also get it because she makes like 4 times what I do. So, good on you. But yeah, if basically we just kind of limit, like, you have this card or you have this card, and or if we're working on a sign-up bonus, like I just gave her my physical Mesa card, and like, this is the card you use just on everything. And the reason I had to do this because Mesa actually won't let you have an authorized user card, which is super weird, but that's, I guess, for another day. But yeah, no, I totally understand. Sometimes your wife they just don't want to have to deal with all those decisions, and I totally get it. James, congrats on the baby. Thanks so much. We're very very excited again. Thank you. You guys are amazing. Kevin, my uncle has an autograph card that I basically forced him to get it, and got approved with a 15,000 credit limit. He got the 30,000 point bonus with 1,500 in spending. That's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, the autograph card, I would love to have a Wells Fargo card, and I finally do. Actually, I was able to get the One Plus or the One Key card. I just got the one with no annual fee, and I'm kind of excited about it. We're going to use it at Verbo sometime. We like to go to the beach, and $300 was the sign up bonus I got for opening the card, and $300 off a weekend at the beach is going to be solid for me. But yeah, no. So Wells Fargo, that's the only Wells Fargo card I have. But it'd be nice if they liked me for more of their cards. I'd talk about them a lot more. Background balloon, 5x Costco gas, 4x and all. Okay, that's still not bad. Honestly, 4x on gas stations, you have to have the business gold card through American Express in order to match that. And even then you can't really cash it out, right? And so that, yeah, that's a good one. James, anyone with a 40 to 60 K credit limit is balling. Absolutely. When I opened the letter on my business platinum card, because that's the pay over time limit is 60,000, I was like, what am I going to do with this? Like, what are you doing? This is crazy. But dear Lord, if I ever actually put $60,000 on a credit card, um, yeah, I'm in trouble. I'm going to be on the Caleb Hammer show. Calder's hot take: Capital One customer service is better than Amex. That's actually an interesting point because so we all kind of love Amex, and I think there's two different ways to think about Amex, right? There's the chat with Amex, and then there's the phone call with Amex. The chat people, they are confidently wrong just as much as ChatGPT is, right? They will tell you to your face that McDonald's doesn't actually code as a restaurant, so you shouldn't get 4x, or and they're just wrong. They don't know what they're doing. And whereas if you actually talk to someone in person or like on the phone, I've seen a lot more success. I've felt a lot more success. But yeah, no, that's a good point. At least with the VentureX, yeah, I feel like I've heard that Capital One has a higher level of customer service with VentureX, whereas with the Platinum card, I don't feel like there's as much of a difference between the gold card customer service line and the platinum card customer service line, which is unfortunate because the Chase line, like when I call Chase for my Southwest card or my Amazon card, it's good, right? But when I call with my Ritz Carlton card number, because it goes to the JP Morgan Reserve like client line, they are above and beyond amazing. Like every single time is great. Like, so I feel like Capital One needs to do that. I feel like more people, including American Express, they could do that, right? They're supposed to be really good at customer service. And to be fair, they are, as long as you're not trying to ask them to, actually make as long as you're trying, make your vacation for you, right? Like, I remember when I was first watching credit card YouTubers and I was watching Anthony Venture talk about needing to use, the concierge with his Amex Platinum card. I'm like, that's half the fun, right? I love going through and like searching on online reviews, figuring out like what I should be doing. Like, I'd rather do that than just ask someone what I should do, because what are they going to do? They're going to show you a PDF that says, oh, if you're going to Paris you should see the Eiffel Tower, and then, oh, maybe you should check out the Louvre. I can figure that stuff out on my own. But yeah, no, that's a fair take. That's a fair take. I definitely think that's a great idea. Eduardo, no bonus unfortunately, but Capital One won't approve me for anything. Too many inquiries. Yeah. There are some cards they will just give you regardless, but you have to, it's incremental. All right. Costco gas is 5%. Okay. And thanks for answering that question. That's awesome. And Charvicio, if only Capital One had really good transfer partners, but there's never a reason not to get the Venture X, is still that good of a card. Yeah. I really can't complain. And the reason why is because my wife and I have seen a decent to tremendous kind of value by transferring to Virgin or Air France. And those are the only transfer partners we've made with our Capital One miles. And I actually cleared out my Capital One miles when they had that transfer bonus to Virgin Atlantic, because we know we're going to be traveling to England sometime in the next year. And so, I picked up an extra 8,000 points just for doing that transfer. So I speculative transferred to Virgin. I like them. It's very easy to find their reward space. And, yeah, sure, you have the taxes and fees, but, the upper class ticket is still a great experience. It's one of the best food. It's some of the best food I've ever had in the sky, honestly. But yeah, so yeah, but if you're someone who's looking for hotels with Capital One, I can definitely see that not being a good option for you, right? Like that makes sense. Joey Cowboy, try the Capital One Venture X pre-approval link first and then decide. Yeah, absolutely. I would say go for it and then decide after year one if you plan to keep it or not after using it for a year. Yeah, I will say, well, I say this now, but between the American Express Business Platinum and the Platinum, like one of those like has to go, right? There's just no reason for me to have both. I will downgrade. Well, I don't know. I've heard that if you cancel the business cards, first of all, it doesn't hurt your personal credit. Second of all, like they'll still just keep sending you kind of offers, right? So I could still just turn around, cancel that card, turn around and get another 250,000 point offer or something, possibly. That would be nice. And so there's that. But yeah, no, that's a solid point. It's just it is a lot, but it looks so pretty too. It looks so shiny. Sleepy Rod, I just recall a video from you saying you were already balancing a whole bunch of credits. So now would you add it? So, honestly, the Sleepy Rod, that's a great point, right? So we have, I have the gold card. I have the Hilton cards, right? I canceled my Hilton business card because it was quarterly, Hilton credits, right? And that's a lot. But the $300 credit with the Venture X, I don't feel like it's as burdensome, because it's only, you have to use it once a year. You don't have to worry about every quarter, everything, something like that. So that one feels not as bad, but that is a solid point, right? It's one more thing that I have to keep in mind of. QC man, you think US Platinum will limit lounge access to Priority Pass and Plaza Premium like they just did with the Canadian version? I don't know. I mean, something's gonna have to happen with Priority Pass because like so many Priority Pass lounges just aren't like opening themselves up to Priority Pass customers. So like it's kind of limited anyway. But even if it was limited, like I have Priority Pass access anyway through the Ritz-Carlton card. And so like it won't impact me if they do, but I can see that being a thing because once everyone started getting rid of like the Priority Pass restaurants, like American Express was relatively soon to follow up with that change. And so I feel like this kind of change that's coming eventually will happen, right? I think that eventually will happen. But you just have to play it by ear. The best way to do it is just go to as many Priority Pass lounges as you can, if you can stomach them, of course. Yuri's here. Thanks so much for being here, Yuri. I really appreciate you. Costco people, yes, I see you all. Not object check to use in Costco. Yeah, I got you. I definitely got you. And I will say, as someone who is about to be buying a literal crap load of diapers, Costco's not a bad Costco is not a bad option, right? I'll take that check. The Costco rewards check, you can get cash for that checkout line. Must be in person. Oh, okay. All right. That's good to know. I didn't realize you could get cash out for that. That is incredible. All right. Oh, yeah. Wow. Thanks so much, Filmo. Gifted 5 points with Philip memberships. Thanks so much and hopefully everyone is just enjoying all of those member only videos. I was considering bringing some of them, like making a little bit more. I've seen a lot of creators kind of doing like, I'm driving home, so I'm just going to talk to my friends kind of videos. And I don't know if you guys would like that, but I think, did you just gift yourself a membership? That's amazing. Thank you so much, Filmo. You are amazing. And I'm so glad I get to see you in Puerto Rico. Jen and I are going to be very excited to see you. I'm just going to tell her that you are, you're going to be the co-star of my next podcast. I forgot what we named it was going to be. Background balloon. Also, congrats on gifting yourself a membership. First time it's going to happen. Yeah, we don't have that many members, but we have a lot of members now. So thanks so much, Filmo. At Calder's, yes, I have the crappy saver plus 39 annual fee. Downgrading both Chase and City CSPs, so the annual fee isn't too much of a burden. Yeah, no, that's fair. I actually have to say, so a friend of my wife's. She has had the Chase Sapphire Reserve for years now. And she actually just texted her out of the blue the other day saying, I really like, the annual fee is coming up and it's $800 something and I just don't want to deal with it anymore. And, I wonder how widespread that is because how many regular people, like, people outside of this community, how much do they want to have to chase down like DoorDash and Lyft and like I don't know, like that's a lot. That's a really lot of really awesome stuff. Rewards Master is a member. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks, Filmo. Yes, you did. QZ Man's also a member as well. Looks like. Enrique, anyone know if Capital One will charge back the $300 travel credit if you product change after you use it? My girlfriend purchased a flight and the credit kicked in, but she has been planning on downgrading to the Venture One. That's actually a really good question. I don't know. Yeah. Does anyone has any information on it? Let me know. All right, background balloon. We're actually starting to get caught up with the chat, which I'm really happy about. Congrats on the adoption. Thank you so much. You're amazing. QC Man, thanks so much again. And QC Man, yes, I got a sugar mama. She is amazing. She's definitely outside of my league, so I don't know what she's doing with me, but she is with a credit card YouTuber, so I got something going for me. QC Man, credit card YouTube folks know more than Amex chat people. Absolutely, yeah. Amex is not. Yeah, no. I don't know where they do with their chat people because, because especially with chat, like you can actually look at the terms and everything before you answer, and it just doesn't seem like they do like at all. But yeah, no, 100 times I've just been like, I know you're wrong. I'm not a jerk. I don't say that, right? But like, I'm just like, okay, we're just gonna close out this chat. I'm not going to rate you because if I did, this would not be pretty. But then we just kind of do it again. But yeah, hang up, call again. Oscar is here. So when people say Amex and Chase have really good transfer partners opposed to Capital One, do they just mean United and Hyatt for Chase and Delta and Hilton for Amex? Yes, 100%. Because most of the people that I talk to that aren't in the credit card space, they're looking at hotels and they're looking at domestic transfer partners. And so for Chase, yeah, Hyatt's easy, United's easy. Southwest was a shoe-in for good value because I think it was at least 1.7 cents per point regardless, which was always pretty nice, but now it's could be a lot less than that. And so like, Chase's ability to be justifiably the top dog is kind of becoming a little less important, but Hyatt's still Hyatt. Hyatt is still incredibly incredibly valuable. Sorry, my mouth has not been working today. I actually had to re-record a couple of videos today. Yeah, thanks so much, background balloon. I appreciate someone left. Kevin, B of A Premium Awards Elite PP have restaurants. Okay, that's good to know. I've shared my Bank of America progress with some of you people. So Bank of America was a bank account that I shared with my mom. And so I definitely did not come from a household where, there were sound financial instruction. And so that account was actually closed with neither of our, input, right? For valid reasons, I'd assume I wasn't really that into it at the time. And so they actually wouldn't give me even a checking account for the longest time. But they finally actually let me get the checking account for, I think, what was it, like that $400 or $500 bonus a couple weeks ago. And so I was able to finally get a checking account. I've applied for their credit cards. They won't give it to me, but they're also saying it's because of velocity, which I respect. I get it. I wouldn't give me a credit card at this point because I've just kind of my credit report is basically just a giant billboard of I will use your card exactly as long as you pay me to and no longer. And so, I get it. Philmos World, fitness with the Phils, it shall sweep the nation. Yeah, absolutely. We are going to pump you up. Hopefully I did that right. Accents are not my strong suit. Sounding like this might be more of a strong suit. Kevin, most of my family use no annual fee cards, but sometimes annual fee of the benefit is worth it. Yeah, I feel like most people are like that. And honestly, what's weird, at least in my area, I have seen that the most amount of people just that have credit cards in the wild are Southwest people. And I guess I kind of get that because Southwest has a lot of direct flights from Orlando. And so most of the time you can get to where you want to go with no stops, maybe one. And so, that's, I get that, like Southwest, I was mine for a while before like my first points and miles, like travel card was a Southwest Plus card. I was so proud of it. And then I started spending on it, right? Because I was like, oh, I'm just going to get Southwest points. And it sucked. I was like, wait a minute, why am I only getting 1,500 points in a month? And it's because almost everything was 1x on that card. And I was like, I can do so much better. And so I did. But yeah, no, I totally get it. I feel like most people are in that. And I actually ask most of the like restaurants that I go to, I'll ask the wait staff, like, what do you see if you're paying attention to it, right? And 9 times out of 10, if it's not a debit card, it's like a Quicksilver or, just something else, right? But most of the time it's a debit card. Background below. And to be frank, if you make that much money, you probably want to be with someone who is financially savvy. Age is someone who knows how to game their credit card stuff without going into debt. Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah. So maybe that's what I bring to the table. I am good with credit cards and points and miles. Thanks, background blue. I was able to get the $300 credit to become a United travel credit from a canceled non-refundable flight. That is fascinating. I love that. So you can actually kind of make that sync up with your, personal platinum if you have one, or even a business platinum, or even honestly the Ritz-Carlton card credit too, for that matter. That's $300 in travel credit that goes for United credit. So if you have all those cards, you're just basically getting, well, a free United flight to Atlanta from Orlando. United flights can be kind of expensive, which is weird. But yeah, no, I'll take the United travel credit 100%. They fly to Dulles, which we do every once in a while too. Jamie, thanks so much for being here. Is it Jamie or Jaime? I never know. What's up, Philip? Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you. Background balloon. I wish I could get another credit card, but my velocity is so high. I basically need to take a back seat for the next yearish at least. Yeah, I told myself I was gonna stop, and then the personal Hilton card had that 100,000 point offer, and then I think it's a $100 statement credit too. Once you hit that sign up bonus, and I was like, I got to do it, right? And so I canceled my business Hilton card, and then got that card. Now, because I didn't wait a full month, I had to go to Recon, had to call them, tell them that I canceled the card, then they approved me. And whenever that happens, you never actually get the credit limit in advance. It just kind of goes into the ether for 2 to 3 weeks, and then eventually you find out what it is you got. All right, let's take a look here. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. My goal, honestly, is just to wait until Capital or Citibank starts sending me mailers again, and just either apply for the City Strata Elite or the American Executive Card. Those, like, I would love to have those on my next couple lists. All right, Jamie or Jaime, Chase closed my credit card accounts 3 because of too many new accounts, and I'm not profitable with them since I spent mostly on my Amex cards. That would be really worrisome for me. I will say I do still do a decent amount of spend on my Prime card, and so basically because my wife isn't an authorized user on my Prime card, but I just gave her the card to add to her Amazon Prime account, and so she's in part of my family, the Amazon Prime family, so we only pay one membership. And then basically everything she just puts on that card, and we just kind of get 5% cash back. So I use that quite a bit. I definitely have not used my Southwest card very much. And my Ritz-Carlton gets a decent amount of spend just because I always put rental cars. And we've actually been staying at Marriott's a lot recently just because their points have actually been pretty decent. Like the last couple, we stayed at a AC hotel in Huntsville, and it was like I think 10,000 points a night or something really low like that. And then we also did the same thing at the AC hotel in Atlanta Perimeter Center, was very cheap like that. And so we've actually been staying at Marriott's a little bit, so my Ritz has gotten some use. QC man, thanks so much for the 2 spot. I really appreciate you. And what's the story with your new avatar? Nice bow tie. Thank you so much. That is actually, so I started my career in Washington, D.C. I attended classes at the University of Virginia, and I actually ended up working. So I was able to study under Larry Sabato, who I'm not sure if you aren't in politics, you probably don't know who he is, but he basically leads the Politics Center at UVA. And from there, I actually worked at, got an internship at a think tank. Then I ended up actually working for a presidential campaign, and then I actually ended up working for a news agency. And so this is actually one of my first kind of TV hits was actually that shot, and I just really liked, having that bow tie on, and I actually had hair back then, so that was really good too. But I was like, you know what? Someone told me I need to change up my profile picture, and I was like, I'll just throw out one of the best pictures I've ever taken in my life. And so thanks so much for asking about it. Appreciate you. Karis, I see a lot of Delta cards in the wild in New York. Oh, I bet. Yeah. The New York, honestly, is I can imagine that they do a lot of marketing, and I feel like a lot of people like to use their cards because the dream that Delta sells you with these cards is that you'll be able to just do your regular spend, and then just be able to fly whatever, get a free checked bag, you'll have priority boarding, which honestly, like, Group 5 boarding, it is a perk. Like I would definitely rather have it than not have it. But it's also not like you have to wait. Like it's usually like 15 minutes after boarding starts. You're like, okay, I'm finally in. But yeah, no, that's a good point. Delta cards are really good. And then QC Man saying I know a lot of normies with AA and Delta cards and put almost everything on it. Yeah, I will say my AA, the Platinum Select card that I got last spring, it looks pretty, right? It really like it feels good. It's like a decent quality material. Like I would like to make that my everyday driver. It doesn't earn it all, right? I think it only earns 3 points if you're buying American Airlines like flights with it, and then 2x for a couple of things like restaurants and stuff. But like, especially with Citi now that Citi transfers 1-to-1, like the Citi Strata Premier, that's my AA card, right? But yeah, no, 100%. Most people, when they think about credit card points and miles, like they think about which airline card do I have to get. Like they're just a lot of people don't think about like the transferable currencies, right? Like when my in-laws, when they asked me like to help them with credit cards, they're like, okay, tell us where do we get our Sky Miles? I was like, okay, well, you can get Sky Miles, but you can also do something else, right? And so like a lot of those people, like that is their idea of points and miles, right? If I use points and miles, I have to use that card. And so a lot, marketing is definitely in support of that, right? Like Delta wants you to think that way. Southwest wants you to think that way. They wouldn't be profitable if people didn't think that way. Kevin, Wells Fargo in the app, they offer me autographs, Autograph Journey, Active Cash, or Reflect because of Wells Fargo banking relationship for 4.5 years now in December. That is amazing, honestly. So they gave me, I'm actually cycling through my second bank account bonus with them. So I do have a bank account with them and the OnePay card. So I actually might try. I'm really, so my goal is to not apply for a card until maybe December, January. And then I may give Wells Fargo a chance because I think by then it'll be 4 or 5 months since my last like card that hit my actual like credit limit, my personal credit. All right. Let's see. Kara, sorry, it was my Adventure X $300 credit that ended up as United Travel credit. I waited 31 days and canceled my non-refundable flight. Okay, that's really awesome. I love that. I'm so glad to hear that because that makes sense because you can, just United Travel Bank is a great way to just, kind of make sure you're getting all of the benefit from all these cards. Honestly, that United Travel Bank may save the Chase Sapphire Reserve because, you can have multiple high dollar cards and actually still like get savable, bankable value out of it. Kevin Wynn, I put truckload of money into my Wells Fargo checking or savings account. Okay, that's good to know. I usually pay everything out of my quarterback account, so my Chase account. But honestly, like I have been using Chase account because there's a lot of Chases in my area. But I could really change it to Wells Fargo because there's a decent amount of Wells Fargo in my area. There's also a decent amount of Bank of America's in my area. So, and then of course, if I close that account, then I could actually get a new checking account bonus with Chase, which would be nice because those actually aren't bad either. I think right now I have like 8 or 9 checking accounts. All right, let's see. Calder's. There are some sneaky good secured cards out there with decent multipliers. Navy Fed, U.S. Bank, Bank of America. Oh yeah, 100%. Actually, I might, I might actually do a Bank of America secured card if I can't get just a regular one. Just because, like, it would be cool to like because eventually, so I have my retirement account is with Fidelity right now, but I finally was vetted. Like all of my stuff became vested. Sorry, not vetted. All of my stuff became vested a couple of months ago, and so whenever I do leave my current company, I will need to roll it over into something else. And so, going into Bank of America would be good because then I could automatically start kind of exploiting a lot of those. A lot of those really nice multipliers with that special program. So like I can't do it now because like I'm locked into Fidelity, but whenever I do leave my company, I can roll it into something else, and that is definitely a solid option for me. Especially if I ever get to a point where like I'm not doing international travel reliably, like if family continues to expand it or something like that. Juan Garcia, good evening, Philip. Nice video on Citi. I think if someone who did not have Amex and Chase can run a duo between Citi Strata and Strata Elite and be 100% covered on all multipliers, yeah, 100%. Yeah, the 1.5x, like you have to kind of run the internal math as to whether or not you would get that value from, say, getting the double cash, right? Because that extra 0.5%, it either matters or it doesn't matter to you, right? And so would you rather just have 2 cards and then run the 1.5x on just those 2 cards, or would you rather have 3 cards and get 2x on everything? And but that's kind of the question. But no, you definitely theoretically could. My only concern with that would be if Citi just like if you run into a problem with Citi, you really run into a problem with Citi, and that doesn't appear to have changed with their latest adjustment, right? So I would at least want to have something from another bank somewhere. But you definitely could rock that as your main duo and still do really well. Background balloon. I also got the no annual fee Hilton card with 100,000 points. I'm just forced to chill because all I get are denials now after every recon. Yeah, I definitely get you there. One fun fact though, it doesn't look like the Robinhood card is particularly stressful when it comes to velocity. It also doesn't sound like other cards. Like when last year when I was in the same position, I got my Virgin Red card, and the Virgin Red card actually has like a high sign up bonus. So if you can use Virgin Miles, Synchrony does not care about previously open cards. So that's always an option. But if you want to deal with that, I totally understand if you don't want to though. My problem with right now is that American Express, like I'm at, they've decided that I get 5 credit cards. And right now I'm at the no annual fee Hilton, the Aspire card, Blue Business Plus, Blue Business Cash, and my Delta Business Gold. And so, basically I can close my Blue Business Plus card, but I'm currently using that as my actual business card for like YouTube related expenses. And because I actually have that tied to my tax tracker app. And so basically anything I go on there, or everything I put on that card goes automatically as like towards a business expense category. And so like that simplicity is worth not trying to pursue a different card right now. My Blue Business Cash can be closed in December. And so I might do that, but then that slot's going to go towards a Marriott business card in February because that's when I'll be eligible for a Marriott sign-up bonus again. Lord willing, I'm not actually in pop-up jail for that card at that time. QC Man, I've heard of him, like reading his stuff. Sabotage, yeah, he every election he comes out with a new book and talking about why the election sucked or didn't suck. But yeah, no, he does. Yeah, he does a good job. Background balloon. Ella, your profile picture looks like you do debates at Cambridge. Yeah, thank you. I do look scholarly a little bit, right? Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. One, I just got approved for U.S. Bank Cash Plus card. However, system only gave me credit limit of $500. Oh yeah, that's frustrating. I was speaking to underwriting department to reconsider higher credit limit based on my credit was increased to 7th. Wow, I did not realize you could talk to them. So I'm kind of in that boat with my Fidelity Rewards Visa. So despite the fact that I have a significant chunk of change invested with Fidelity, I only got a $2,000 credit limit. Now, at the time when I applied, my 24 status, I want to say it was close to like 8 or 9 or 10 maybe potentially. So like I understand like they probably shouldn't have even given me a card, so that probably helped me get the 2,000. But like if I ever did want to use this card reliably, like that $2,000 credit limit could get in the way, because I wouldn't be able to finish the close out the month on that card. And so that I probably should call them. Honestly, I should call them on see if that's a possibility because Elon is a subsidiary of U.S. Bank, and so they probably have similar rules. At least I would hope so. Rewards Master, thanks so much for still being here. I appreciate you. I have a friend who spent on his Hilton no annual fee card for years and years. We went on a trip and he had millions of points and had no idea. That is amazing. I love hearing that. So yeah, I'm sure Hilton loves to hear that too, because that's, it's despite the fact that it's, a liability on their books, they're probably banking on the fact that he's not going to do anything with that. Right. But like so my wife's family has family in Atlanta, and that's why we go there a decent amount. And there's one guy, and he is very proud of the fact that he only uses his Hilton Surpass card for everything. And it's funny because when other people were asking me about credit card stuff, he'd be like, "Oh, like I always use my Hilton card." It's like it was some huge thing. I was like, "Oh wow, I should use my Hilton card more." But yeah, like a lot of people are like that. They just like, "What do I use? Let's just earn on that." And I get it, right? Like what is it? I think RJ on the podcast, Stack Your Points podcast. I think she talks about, using only, Hilton cards for spend. And you can do that, right? The Hilton business card is a great, kind of everyday multiplier. And then like all of these things are really, really amazing and really solid. And so like you can do it. It's just, it's very clearly designed for people who don't really care that much about those points, right? Um, Good patient. Can Spark Miles select product change to Spark Plus, Spark Plus Cash, Spark Cash Plus? Sorry, don't know where my head's at. Venture X Business. I actually don't know. We don't have anything on the business side on Capital One. My only business experience is with Amex and Chase. Does anyone actually in the chat know? Because I'm sure someone knows. I would assume that you could, at least from the Spark to Spark, but again, Capital One, at least on the personal side, when they want to upgrade you, they're kind of very selective with what they offer you. So it probably would have to be on whatever they decide to offer you. Kevin Wynn, where I live, I see Chase, B of A, Wells Fargo, or Citi. I see mostly B of A or Wells Fargo most of the time. Yeah, no, it's definitely kind of a regional thing. I'm always surprised whenever I go to DC how many Wells Fargos there are. They're just kind of all around the place. And then there's also that there is a Capital One cafe near Chinatown that I go to every once in a while. B of A customized cash reward secured has the 6% interest. Oh, that's good to know. I might have to get myself a shiny new secured credit card from Bank of America. Thanks so much, Calderns. I appreciate you. The Rewards Master, actually, no annual fee strata works almost as much as well. Oh yeah, okay, that is a good point. The no annual fee strata that can also work. Yeah, it's an interesting card. I think a lot of the time, like when it first unveiled, a lot of people, including me, kind of compared it to the Wells Fargo Attune card, at least especially with that kind of pick your own category. But yeah, no, it's a solid card, especially for no annual fee. I do believe that one still has limited transfer partners, right? I think you actually have to get the City Strata Premier in order to get the full one-to-one conversions, if that's if I'm remembering correctly. We see another Philip. Thanks so much for being here. I keep getting ads every time I open my Wells Fargo app, so I applied for the autograph visa. I got hit with pending. Yeah, in my experience, whenever you get hit with a pending, it's rarely a good thing. Although I will say that actually, so I can't do a video. It's contractually obligated to do. It isn't to mention the Ritz Carlton card. So my Bonvoy Boundless card. I applied for it and it went to pending. I would think I was at 824 at the time. And basically like they sent me a letter. Like they wouldn't tell me. They sent me a letter and it was, you need to send these documents. And I think it was my driver's license and then a copy of a utility bill or something like that. And so I sent that in and I just kind of forgot about it. And then I opened my mail probably a week and a half or 2 weeks later, and I get a card in my inbox. I was like, yes, let's go. I was very happy about that actually, because I got it just in time for a trip. My wife and I had planned a road trip to Charlottesville, Virginia. I was taking her back to see the university, and then we also did a couple other things. And I got it literally like 2 days before we left. And I was like, yes, this is going to be my travel card. That was solid. I got the 5 free nights. That was amazing. So I had one time where it was like the pending was actually not bad, but most of the time it can be bad. Kevin, stand the credit card, stand the credit frog. B of A unlimited cash card has no foreign transaction fees because he downgraded his B of A. Oh, interesting. Usually, like I would have assumed that everything would have carried over, or it would have changed when the change happened. That's really interesting, though. Okay, that's good to know. Stan is really into B of A, but I feel like he has a little bit more money to throw around than I do, at least with some of these loyalty programs. QC Man, have you tried testing if Amex would approve you for? I absolutely have. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. I test it probably once every, couple of weeks. But no, I don't know. It's weird. I think Sledge is one that has like 6, but I don't. I have not been graced with that amazingness. QC Man saying it's like Barstool guy having millions of MR points on a Centurion card and not using them. I get it, right? Like I understand that, like, oh, like I'd rather, tell people that I have that many points. Like I mean, especially if you have that kind of money, where like it's almost like a game because you're earning those points on cash flights. So it's almost more worthwhile to pay cash, especially, if you have a decent amount of it. Or even if your business is paying for it, right? Like if I'm having to do, if I'm paying cash for flights, then my company is reimbursing me. I'm paying cash. I'm not using points for that. That's yeah. Background Balloon says at the rewards master, the pinnacle of finding a $20 bill in your jacket pocket. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah. I love it whenever I do laundry and I find out that I actually have money. It's amazing. Back on Balloon, there are so many double cash back offers this time around. I've seen it for B of A, CZR, BMO, and yeah, the Venmo credit card. Yeah, I actually just recorded a video about that because, honestly, like I feel like it's really great because Chase is always there's always a Chase card in my wallet, whether it's my Southwest card or usually my Ritz-Carlton card, just because it looks pretty. And I love it because there's always a Chase offer, but there's always a higher multiplier. So like the 3x on the Ritz-Carlton card is fine, right? It's Marriott points, so I don't really care about it so much. But if it was 6x Marriott points, maybe I care about it so much, right? And so they do throw those multipliers at you, and it's like, okay, yeah, sure, you've earned a space in my wallet for the month. But yeah, no, a lot of people are learning that works. At Colliers, I was in Chicago for college, and there weren't any Wells Fargo's anywhere near. Okay, that's good to know. What was it in Chicago? Just out of curiosity, I've never actually been to Chicago. I do want to go though. It looks like there's a lot of really cool places to stay, a lot of really cool things to do. I've heard that you probably shouldn't go in the winter though. But what was the Sandra Bullock movie in Chicago? Was it While You Were Sleeping? That is my image of Chicago, at least internally. So, is it like that? What I got put in pinning for the Marriott card yesterday at 9:24, and the rep basically told me to eat it because 5:24. You probably should. I would definitely hang up and call again because the Chase has essentially two cards that are kind of more famous for being less into 524, and that's the Amazon card and some of these Marriott cards. So I would definitely call back again. But also I'm at 9:24, so it's guess sort of expected. Rep really said there's no maybe they changed their mind since I was there. You never know. Maybe they changed their mind. All right, Amex keeps me at 5 also. We are in the club together. Yes, there we go. And this is tea actually. I discovered it when I was this is not it's not alcohol, it's tea. I actually discovered in England that I really, really like different types of tea. And so I don't know if you can see behind me, but I have some actual tea canisters from London and Paris. And so we actually have some really kind of expensive tea, but it is good. Anyway, yeah, so we're actually caught up. So, we might actually, the only reason we haven't gotten the VidTracks yet is just because, we're working on this sign up bonus with the Mesa card. And yeah, sure, it's 50,000 points, but my wife and I really are kind of targeting one of the potentials we're targeting is being able to book, the, the Cathay Pacific British Airways first class for 90,000 points. And so, an extra, halfway towards a first class ticket on British Airways is really solid. And so the reason to do Cathay is because, you still have to pay. But it's like, I think for first class seats, it works out to be like 275 or $300 in fees. Whereas if you're booking it directly through British Airways, you're probably paying close to $1,000 in taxes and fees. And so that's kind of what, that's kind of what I'm looking for. James, when all subs get tea free from Philip, please. That's amazing. So when we were in London, we went to Covent Garden. There's a place called Marriage Alfrères or something. I'm sure I'm butchering that. I'm not really good at French. And it basically, so it's a type of Darjeeling tea. And if you're not into tea, Darjeeling can be it's like the one where you can get super expensive, right? Because they label it off of which like plantation it comes from, and then also what time of the year it came from, and then how it was aged and stuff like and so like I actually paid for one. It was 4 ounces of tea, and I want to say it was like $50. I'm sorry, 50 pounds. So it was closer to like maybe $60, $65. And And so that was kind of like it was my most insane purchase, but like when you know that this came from like I forgot which plantation, but it was like a first flush, which is supposed to be like one of the nicer ones, and that was nice. But yeah, James Wynn, I like milk thistle tea. I actually, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, one thing that I did find out that I actually like too is milk oolong tea. So oolong is kind of smooth, and I love it because the one I get, it comes in like little pearls and they kind of expand, and so it actually looks like you're brewing tea. It's not just like kind of little bits and pieces, and so I like that a lot. Yeah, but milk thistle is pretty good too. Is that an aura ring on the left hand? No, this is actually just my wedding ring. Let me see if I can. Let's see if I can. Oh, yeah, no, there we go. This is just a wedding ring, and it actually says "my favorite always" on it, and so I'm actually kind of proud of this. So, my wife and I, we got married. We got married in December 2019, and we basically. So I when we ordered this card, like it barely fit, or order this ring, it barely fit, and so I gained a decent amount of weight between when we bought it and then when we got married, and so it didn't fit anymore, and so I ended up actually recently losing about 100 pounds ish, and shots included, and now I can fit in it again because my fingers aren't fat sausage fingers anymore, and I'm really proud of the fact that I can actually wear my actual wedding ring that we bought, which is really happy. I'm happy about that. Background balloon, yo, points with Philip membership monthly live. And what happens should be called Tea Time with Philip. I love that. We'll do it. Let me know. Those members only videos. I know that who's doing that? That's John. John R is doing member only lives. If that's something you would be interested in doing, yeah, we can totally do that. I love talking about stuff. Oh, we have a question from Good Patient. So get Apple Card now before tighter Chase approval rules take over. Honestly, yes. So I would do it if you can get approved for it. And I think I recently did an Apple Card video that if you use that code, I get money, but then I think you get $75 or something. So if there's not a sign up bonus, use one of those. You don't have to use mine. You just have to use something because I want you to get money. But yeah, the Apple Card, honestly, I use it. I use it a decent amount. I definitely have never, ever used the physical card because I'm not getting 1% cash back on anything. But I do use it to buy my iPhone on. I did use it to buy my Apple Watch on because the 3% cash back plus 0% interest is hard to beat, right? Because if you're doing it on an Amazon card, you're either getting 5% cash back or you're getting 0%. But to get the 3% plus the 0% is kind of a big deal. Uh, I don't know any curse words, QC man. I wouldn't even know where to start. Um, but just a hint, it came from politics and journalism. I've heard some things. Chris explores the world. Yeah, I agree, Chris. You definitely probably should. Background balloon. If you ever come to the Bay Area, you get lost with how many milk tea shops we have. We have so many. You and your wife will turn into an ABB couple. All right, cool. There we go. Okay. I really so. When I was in DC, Northern Virginia, there were a lot of like boba tea places that were like actual Asian people went to. And and so like you got like the actual like real kind of tea. It's actually different types of tea, and like you get really kind of nerdy with how sweet you wanted it, how much ice you wanted with it. But like all the bubble tea places down here in Orlando, they're all like were like weird white J-pop like Japan, like people are like they like Japan or the idea of Japan or like anime or something. So I always feel uncomfortable whenever I go into bubble tea shops in Orlando. So whenever we go to DC, I always go into that area. But into one of those shops. Background balloon. Ella, I'm still in between jobs right now, so I can't budget for YouTube memberships. But once I find something, I'd love to join it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry to hear that. Background balloon. That is not fun. It's tough out there too. Like so we recently did kind of a reshuffling at my company where so I was in a separate kind of vertical and they erased everybody above my direct boss. And so his boss actually, she was out of it for I want to say like 3 or 4 months, and then she finally found a really good job, which she's very happy about, and actually has better benefits, which is great for her. But it's hard to find something, but once you do, like I hope it's going to be really solid for you because it's there's just there's some weird stuff going on with AI and like because like we're using ChatGPT to write our cover letters, they're using ChatGPT to read our cover letters, and it's just like it's kind of like an arms race of stupid. Honestly, it feels like. But yeah, no, I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully that comes up soon. We'll be praying for you if that matters to you. QC man, got to make sure you curse on those members only videos. Yeah, I'll have to give me the curse words in advance, and I'll have to make sure that I work them in. Fun fact, actually. So when I sold cars before I went to school at UVA, and they actually tell you to do mild curse words like, "I'll be damned if whatever," because people are like supposed to be more able to believe you if you use mild curse words. You can't go full curse, right? Because then they're like, "Oh, I don't like that person." But if you just kind of toss them around a little bit, they think that you're more passionate, apparently, at least according to a study that my sales manager referred 15 years ago. So there's that. Each member needs an. There you go. All right, back on below. All right. One of my great memories about tea involved breakfast at an Amex FHR property in Edinburgh. Earl Grey tea with milk and sugar during breakfast and after dinner at the on property restaurant. Oh, absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up, Vincent. So my wife and I we were at the Conrad in London. So it was on by St James Park. It was really beautiful property, and the breakfast with Diamond status. Not only do you get the free continental breakfast, but you also get the free hot breakfast, and you get the free full menu. Like whatever is in that restaurant, you can eat for free, and that's not true if you're not a Diamond member. And so we actually would just sit down because you can sit down for cream tea in that restaurant any time of the day, and it's completely complimentary. And cream tea just means it's a full service tea, but the only thing you get are scones and the clotted cream or preserves or something like that. So it's really kind of the meat and potatoes of the tea experience, right? And the one thing that surprised me is I had never ever put milk in my tea before, but it really changes the flavor in a very positive way. I was surprised by that. I don't do it back home, but I was like, okay, I get why you guys do it. They've been doing tea for a couple hundred years. I guess they perfected it. At Background Balloon, have you ever had honeyberry? I actually haven't. That sounds good though. I like honey and I like berries. Do you think Chase will have one more Virgin Atlantic transfer bonus before the end of the year? So the thing I'm excited about is if you'll notice that Virgin Atlantic sign up bonus or not sign up bonus, but transfer bonuses are making the rounds, right? So Capital One was last month. This month it's Citi, I think, right? I'm hoping it's American Express because I got about 600,000 Amex points I want to do something with, and that'd be nice. It'd be nice if it was Chase too. It should be Chase. I think there probably would be maybe by the end of the year, but I know that there's a website. I can't tell. I can't remember if it's Frequent Miler or Points Guy, but they have like a database of when each one was. But Virgin Atlantic does appear to be making the rounds. So I would say so. Less ice and the server gives you regular ice. I've had that experience before. Ask for less sweet and they give you a lot of sweet. Oh, well, that's frustrating. Mine, I think the one that I ended up going to, like they actually had an app, and so you could kind of put it all in, which was nice, and you didn't actually have to talk to anybody, which was even better. At James Wynn, I would love to try it, but I've only seen them in South Bay. I'm at the other end of the Bay. Okay. Yeah, I can imagine the Bay Area being difficult to get around. Bay Area is nuts. Don't know how many people can afford it. Got to make like 15 to 20,000 a month, to be honest. Yeah, everywhere is getting expensive, man. Even in Orlando, like we bought our house, and it's not in a good area. But it was I want to say 330 is what we actually signed for, and that ended up being with the taxes and the fees and everything, the escrow pay, including the escrow payment, ended up being like $2,800 a month, which is like it's crazy for the neighborhood that we live in. Like everyone else that like owned 10 years older than we did, like their house payments like 1,100 or 900, and it's like it's crazy what the real estate market is doing right now. A lot of people are trying to sell though, so it probably is going down. At Background Balloon, yeah, the job market is cooked. I just went through a whole bunch of interviews, but most of them ghosted. One asked for references, but then my references ghosted. Oh yeah, it's always weird whenever a job like actually follows through on that. Like, we expect to hear from your references. I'm like, who actually does that? Like, I mean, my references are real, but like, that's just all. It's a lot. It's the whole job thing is just crazy. We'll get Apple Card, hoping we'll get UR points when Chase takes over. I don't know if you'll get UR points, but you might be able to transfer some of your your credit limit, right? What I'm hoping is that I'll be able to product change it maybe to a Freedom card because Chase is pretty restrictive with the product changes, but there's nothing to product change from with an Apple Card. So I'm hoping maybe you could product change to like a Freedom Unlimited or something, and then kind of go from there. But I don't know. It's purely speculation at this point. James saying I love all milk teas. Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. That's they're so good. On the bright side, I have another interview in a smaller city compared to the Bay Area, and it seems less competitive. So glad to have a shot at it. That's nice. The pay also is doable for an entry level job. Okay, well that is great. I'm glad to hear that. It is kind of weird how much experience entry level jobs kind of require at this point. It's very strange. It's very weird. But yeah. All right, YouTube experiment. Thanks so much for being here, Jesse. Yes, get Venture X if you can. If you can't get it, I can't. Yeah, but to be fair, I can't. Right. My only way to do it is I'm keeping my Quicksilver Visa open with a $500 credit limit open right now. If they give me more of a credit limit increase on either my Saver or my Venture, I'm going to transfer that to the Quicksilver and hope they give me an offer to transfer to the Venture X. But otherwise, it's going to have to be my wife applies for it. So that's kind of where I'm at on that one. At Background Balloon, at James Truth, when I do get boba, I always order less or no ice and less sweet. Yeah, it can get really sweet. It's really bad. Background, we're in the Bay Area. Are you? What was your first big time card? Oh yeah, okay. So this is gonna sound so stupid. So the first time I ever felt like a baller was my Southwest Plus card. So all right, so my wife and I, our first year of marriage, we did not immediately do a honeymoon because we were trying to save money. We were trying because we were in a one bedroom apartment together, and this was just before COVID hit. And so like my wife is very good with money. She was like, I know we can afford this, but I want to get something here. And when COVID happened, that ended up being a very, very good way to go because like her money got cut, I think by about a third. And then, I was a teacher, so I was still kind of getting money, but it was, more sporadic. And so like we ended up being fine with us being in a one bedroom apartment. I forgot where I was going with this, but anyway, so we didn't do a honeymoon. And so what we decided to do was we would go to Tennessee. So what we did do for our 1 year anniversary is we flew to Tennessee, and then we, I got a rental car, and then, we drove to Chattanooga, and then we drove to Knoxville, and then we ended up back in Nashville, and then flew back home. And so it was about a week and a half of just driving around Tennessee and staying in various places, including a cabin in the woods and outside of Pigeon Forge. And so we were really excited about all that. But anyway, my thing was I got my Southwest card because I was in charge of booking the air and the rental car, and I was like, I'm gonna make sure this is free. And so I got my Southwest Plus card. I used the sign up bonus, and we did it. We flew for free to Nashville for our first like actual trip as a married couple, and I felt like a baller, man. Like it was $5 for each person each way in fees, and we were able to do that, and I was so proud. So I looked up, so I have the Amazon Prime card at the time too, and I saw that it had secondary CDW, and I was like, yeah, I got this thing. So I used that to pay for my rental car, but I actually had to be very cognizant of not using it because at the time it only had a $700 credit limit, and I knew that the rental car fee plus the deposit was about $650. So I was like, I cannot use this card. So I was white knuckling it, giving it to them, just like hoping that everything was fine. And but yeah, so everything went fine. But that was the first time I actually felt like a baller. And looking back at it now, like it doesn't feel like it was a baller, but it was kind of like that was a big deal to me. And honestly. So I also teach part-time in the morning. So I teach journalism and U.S. government at a local high school. And I was listening to some kids that were talking about they were talking about just random hotels because one girl she had stayed at a Marriott on a road trip with her family. And she was talking about how when she like gets a real job and like she would only stay at Marriott's because they had a really cool breakfast buffet and it really felt special to her. And I was just like, wow, I have lost so much perspective because I was that kid, right? Like I was homeless in high school. that idea of like, oh, we always wanted to go to Hampton Inns because they had the free breakfast, they had the omelets, the make it yourself waffles. Like I've lost so much of that perspective because my wife and I, like, now that we're in this game, like we're first class, we're staying at Conrad's and Waldorf's and stuff, and it's like, man, like like big time cards, big time experiences. It's down to who you are and what you want out of life. It's not like just because you didn't stay at the Waldorf in Washington D.C. doesn't mean you didn't have a good experience, right? Like if it's big for you, like it's big. And so thanks for asking that question. Actually, I was really happy about, like, that's the first time I felt like I was like, wait a minute, I can make this into like really cool travel. But yeah, thanks for that question. That's a good question. Background balloon, Vincent just going, I got a peninsula and in Berkeley right now, temporarily until I get a job. I got lucky. I have good friends. Yeah. Staying with friends is good. That's actually how I got a foothold in DC. A buddy of mine that I worked with worked with at an internship at a think tank in DC one summer. They let me stay. Essentially, it was a supply closet that they put a bed in. And they let me stay in there for 2 weeks until I was able to actually get a job interview, like, or actually get a job, and then get an actual place on my own. And so, like, having good friends is important. I definitely get that. Vincent, I used to live in North Oakland, so I could walk to Berkeley. Okay, great. My wife did she used to work for an ad agency that was based out of Oakland, and she did a trip there. And she didn't fly into San Fran. She actually flew into Oakland. Is there an airport, whatever the Oakland airport is? And she had some interesting experiences. Vincent Patel, that's a nice area. Okay, awesome. Walk to Berkeley. I would imagine that would be nice. Bro, those fried chicken places in Burke and Oakland. So yeah, oh yeah, I never been, but I would definitely want to try some of those. I love going to the UC Theater near UC Berkeley for live music events. That is nice. They pull really good artists for a good price. More importantly than not, with Live Nation. Is Live Nation the one that's part of the Splurge credit with the City Strata Elite? I think so. Mac and Cheese and Burke. I might also be biased to the UC Theater. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. My first live concert was at Lee University in Cleveland, Tennessee. Background balloon. I remember going to Zachary's for pizza. Oh, that's cool. All right. Let's see. You guys are still talking about yourself. Jamaican food. Interesting. Jamaican food in Oakland. You never know. I asked the best question. Yeah, you did. Let's see. Philip, have you ever thought about putting some of your high school course material online to educate the world on YouTube? That's actually a good question. So I was trying to figure out if I should try to figure out a way to monetize it or what that would look like. So I was talking actually about this with Anthony Venture a couple days ago, actually, because I was asking, like, should I do like classes or something? And he was telling me that a lot of times whenever people do classes, like, it's not taken as like kind of a positive move. Like a lot of people feel like it's a money grab. So like I'm definitely open to like sharing it. I just like if there is a way to kind of cash out on it, like it'd be nice to do so. But I'm kind of trying to figure out how to do that and what that would look like. I might actually just do like a Patreon thing and just do like a membership, and then everything will be on there. I don't know. I haven't actually worked towards it. I'm just kind of kicking around ideas, but that's a great question. I'd like to do that. That would be really cool to do. In my opinion, Oakland, Berkeley is the modern day version of what people think of San Francisco back in the 1960s. Oh, okay. So has anyone ever seen the movie What's Up, Doc? It was with let's see, who was she was a singer, and then was it Cher? No, it might have been Cher. No, it wasn't. No. And then so it was What's Up, Doc was actually based in San Francisco, and it's like in the 60s. And it's just like, it looks like such a cool place. It's probably not like that anymore though. I knew that teachers that do their entire science lesson plans on YouTube. Okay, that's good to know. So probably definitely could be. We definitely need to talk about some things because it's just when you're in high school, right? You're not ready to listen to things like that. You're not ready to listen to like, oh, like this is how I need to do my taxes, stuff like that. You don't care about that when you're in high school. And so being able to do it on YouTube might be good. Going from homeless to a great school like UVA was a pretty good accomplishment. Thank you. I'm guessing you were pretty academically driven. Yeah, my senior year, I took only AP classes. And I think my least successful one was I took AP economics and I got a 3 on it. And then I got a couple of 5s. I got it on AP environmental science, AP lit, And then psychology, I got a 5 on as well. But yeah, no, I was trying. Background blue. Oh, yeah. Live Nation is with the splurge credit in City. Okay, yeah. That's what I thought it looked familiar. I've seen teachers do their entire lesson plan so that the substitutes literally play the YouTube video in the class. Yeah, I actually did that a decent amount during COVID. So so before everything shut down for COVID, at least in Florida, we went to a field trip at SeaWorld, and that was actually the last day it was open. They announced while we were there that they were shutting down for the next day, like permanently, or well, not permanently, but at least moving forward. And so everybody basically had to do at the time was we had to do lessons on YouTube, post them, to email out to the kids. And then, we would be available for anybody to ask questions. Of course, I was teaching 6th grade English at the time. Nobody had questions. And, so that's what I ended up doing. But yeah, that's a good point. Points of Philip, if he did educational videos, would be upgraded. Mr. Beat, I think Mr. Beat was a former. Interesting. I didn't know that. But yeah, no, I used to teach U.S. history. And I just kind of I went so I actually got my current job, which is a corporate job. And so it actually has benefits, which is nice. And a lot better healthcare than I did when I was a teacher. But, I liked it so much that I ended up going back. And I just teach government and journalism now. But yeah, I really enjoyed teaching history too. Some of the kids actually really got into it, which was it just made it fun when the kids are kind of into it. Even if there's just one or two, it's still kind of that infectious synergy kind of grows a little bit. Yeah, Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal. Yeah, that one. That one was such a cool movie. It just made San Francisco look like one of the coolest places I ever wanted to go to. Do you like the Commanders or Orlando Magic? Yeah, the Commanders were cool. One of my friends that I worked with in DC, his dad owned a special interest group that actually owned a box at their then Redskins stadium. And so we actually got a chance to attend a couple games in the box, and that was awesome. It's just those kind of insane things. There's a whole different world when you're in kind of that area, But the Orlando Magic is nice. I haven't actually been to a game here, despite the fact that actually my garage is not very far away from the Kia Center. And so I could go pretty cheaply without having to pay for parking or anything. I haven't been though. I taught 4th to 5th grade PE. Oh yeah, that would be fun. I taught 6th grade English my first year, and then I got upgraded to the high school. And I feel like high school is more my speed because I like kind of stimulating their thinking a little bit. A lot of the time, especially teaching government, they're always like, Mr. Stuckey, what do you think about? And they'll pose some question well, me being here is not to talk about what I think. It's to help you figure out what you think. So what do you think about that? And so they always try to be they want to figure out where Mr. Stuckey votes, which, it is what it is. But it's fun. I love talking to the high schoolers. Love the free food in the box. Yeah, the free food in the box is amazing. Especially it's weird because it's not free. Someone's paying for it, but someone else is paying for it, which is nice. Those fees are kind of crazy though, because you have to buy even in the hot dog display, it's you have to buy 30 at a time. So of course it's $150 or whatever. Let's see. James Wynn, separate bathrooms is nice. That is nice. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, memories. Okay. But yeah, so James Wynn is great. Thanks so much. You guys are awesome. This is a fun conversation. I have been kind of playing around with trying to figure out if I wanted to do at night more. So it seems like at night kind of works a little bit more than during the day. So we're probably going to keep doing that. But it's just I like talking about credit cards. I love talking about I really want the VentureX. It's one of probably 3 cards that I really aspirationally still want that I don't actually have, and that 3 I think is probably the VentureX, and then the American Airlines, the executive card, the black one, whatever it is, and then the next one is the Strata Elite. If I could get one of each of those 3, I'd be happy. But then honestly, if they ever did do the Saver X, I would be the first one to apply. I love the idea of doing that sort of thing. Capital One, they need to have an American Express Gold, competitor, just a true one, right? The Saver card is nice. 3X is not bad, especially for no annual fee. but having 4x with some nice little perks and some things that would be good. Um, yeah, that'd be really good. What do you guys think? Is there any other cards that you guys want that you don't have? City just doesn't play well with me. Wells Fargo doesn't really like me that much either, and U.S. Bank for that matter. I don't have a single U.S. Bank or Barclays card. They will not give those to me. But like I said, I have enough. I have enough velocity that I get it. All right. Well, we've been here for about, yeah, a little bit over an hour and a half. So I am going to plan on closing up shop here in the next couple minutes. So I'm going to close up shop maybe in the next 5 minutes or so. If you do have any other questions or anything you want to get asked, or if you want to talk about, please drop them in the chat now. But in the meantime, let's talk a little bit. Okay, yeah, let's talk about why I actually got the venture card. So, for those of you that weren't here when I first started talking, I have the venture card because I first of all had the regular Capital One Walmart card, and I got that as a targeted mail-in offer. And so this one got me, it got 5% cash back on the first year online and in store. And then after the first year, you had to use it online in order to get the 5%, or I think in store was like 3% or something weird like that. And so I used it pretty much, I use it every time I did Walmart, and we also did Walmart Plus at the time, and so we did that too. And so it was great. There was a lot of options, a lot of really great experiences. I loved the card. I got a lot of use out of it. And then they transferred it to, obviously the Quicksilver card when they shut that down last year. And from there, they didn't even ship the Quicksilver card out to me by the time they gave me an option to transfer it or product change it to something else. And one of the something else was the venture card. So I just jumped on it because I knew that my wife and I were traveling overseas, and I wanted to have a no foreign transaction fee card through Capital One that I could use anywhere. So it was MasterCard at the time. And so that meant that, I had a backup in case no one took American Express, right? And so that's why I did that. And honestly, it's a $95 card, so you don't have as much, but you do still get the 2x back, which I really, really do like. The venture card is not a bad card. I don't feel like too many people talk about it, but it does get a decent amount of sign-up bonuses. And so I feel like a lot of people do have it. Now, if you do apply for it directly, you actually get the metal version. So this is the plastic version because it's a product change. So it's one of the ways that Capital One lets me know that I'm poor. But anyway, I feel like the metal ones are kind of very similar to, a friend of mine has one. They're very similar to this is my Prime card, where it's kind of like a metal core, and then it's plastic kind of bonded on the sides. So it's not like a metal card like the Platinum card, but it's a nice looking card. All right, Philip Fettner, maybe Wells Fargo just doesn't like Phillips. That must be it. It looks like you actually spell it right too, with two L's. I'm very happy to know another one. Filmo also spells it the right way too. Vincent Pasquale, I downgraded my Venture X after the lounge changes were announced, so I couldn't visit the new Capital One lounge at JFK, but I was able to visit the Sapphire Lounge instead and have some great food. Okay, yeah, that's a great point. My wife and I, we definitely want to go to the Capital One landing at DCA. That one just looks like a cool experience, and so that's kind of what we're into. We want to use it for that. But even with the venture card, you still get in, I think it's $45 per person, which at $90 for a visit, that's a lot, right? But even still, for a visit to Jose Andres restaurant, that's not so bad, right? If I went to one of his places in DC or even in Orlando, it would probably cost a lot more than $90 for us to go and get whatever we wanted at one of his restaurants. So is it worth it is kind of the big question. It's wheels. I've been holding out for the 100,000 gold offer from Amex. They keep offering me 60. I hate that. I have heard a lot of people say that you should do, the DuckDuckGo thing, do incognito mode. I don't know. What other cards do you have? It's Wheels I Am. Do you have any other Amex cards, or because I feel I don't know. They really don't like me for personal sign-up bonuses. They wouldn't give me a personal platinum sign-up bonus. I had to wait for an upgrade offer for my gold card to that. but they'll give me sign up bonuses out the butt for business cards, right? So I had my Amex Gold card, my business gold card. I got the 150,000 point offer. My Amex business platinum offer it was the 250,000 point offer. So like they love me for business. They just hate me for the personal. Let's see, Sean credit. It's okay card if you have the Amex Platinum and Amex Gold. I feel you are set on travel cards. 100%. Yeah. The Catch-All 2X is clutch though. There's not a lot of Capital One lounges at the moment. That's true. And because I don't travel to a lot of the places where there is a Capital One lounge, it would pretty much either be the one at Dulles or the one at JFK. And so that's kind of where we would be. But then we'd also be set because at Dulles we have the Sapphire Lounge access through the Ritz-Carlton card, and then and then there's the Centurion Club at DCA now, which I haven't been to yet, but it looks small, but it looks good. Let's see, it's wheels. I do love my Venture X. Hey, they're killing the lounge access. It should have at least one. Yeah, no, 100%. And I don't even think they have a way to earn guest access, right? I think it's just pretty much. It's just the ability to, you just have to pay regardless. Like you can't earn like you can with a bit platinum card. Like if you spend 75,000 a year, you can get unlimited guests and stuff. I have Blue Business and Blue Cash. Okay. Do you put a lot of spend on those? Which one do you like more actually, the cash or the business? Because I have both too, and actually I'm dropping a video Monday, I think, about that. And so there's that. But I like the Blue Business Plus, personally myself. James, what's the best food at the lounges? Okay, so my wife and I will have very different answers to this question. So first of all, as far as the lounges that we've been to, the best food that we've experienced has been at the Sapphire Lounge in Philadelphia. So we went there, and I love that you can actually order hot food directly. They cook it to order, right? So my wife ordered the Sapphire Club sandwich, which was actually really good, and then I had the Sapphire noodles, and then they have the buffet, which is really great. And the one in Philadelphia has like this. It's like a beer garden kind of concept, and they actually have a separate food menu at the beer gardens. They have like pretzels and things like that. It's really good. Second of all, I'd probably have to say the Centurion Lounge in Atlanta. So the Centurion Lounge in Atlanta, they pretty much for dinner, they do some type of chicken thigh. And they use chicken thighs because, well, they don't dry out as easily as like chicken breast or anything. But I've had one that was like a chicken kind of piccata-y kind of thing. I've had one that was like a sweet pepper glaze kind of thing. Then there's one I actually had pimento mac and cheese there. That was really awesome. And then, so at the Atlanta Centurion Lounge, they have a whiskey bar too. And so they actually have really good bourbons. I got some Johnny Walker Black last time. And then they had, they didn't have the single barrel of the Four Roses bourbon, but they had like the bourbon. So the blended version of Four Roses. And so I had that as well. And that was nice too. Their sweet tea, by the way, the Centurion Lounge in Atlanta is amazing. Background balloon. I just got my denial letter from a Marriott. Oh, I'm so sorry. I had no idea my experience score was 770. I swear it was 675 when I checked yesterday. So I will say Chase really loves to neg you when it comes to credit score. So Chase gives you your not the FICO score, right? So according to Chase, I have a 630 or something. But if I look at my Discover card or the FICO, like through either my FICO or Experian or Amex or any other bank, it's like 750, 760, something like that. But Chase is the only one that tells me, oh, you're only a 630. I was like, no. But yeah, so Chase loves to neg you when it comes to that sort of thing. James Wynn at back. Yeah, that's rough. I'm sorry to hear that. QC Man could be wrong, but I think you spend your way to guest access for the Capital. Okay, well that's good. I'm glad to hear that. But that 75,000 it gives you extra. Oh, okay, all right, that makes sense. Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess it makes sense if you're someone who like goes regularly to those kinds of lounges. Yeah, but for someone like me, where I'm not really going to do that, then yeah, no, that won't make a whole lot of sense for me. But yeah, thanks for clarifying, QC Man. I appreciate you. It's Wheels I Am. Got the blue cash just to get my foot in the door. Didn't fully have a travel plan. All about the points now. There you go. Hallelujah. I got my business cash because my wife and I. So we live in Orlando, and we had a couple of hurricanes last hurricane season, and Well, we lost a significant portion of our fence, and so when you have to buy a fence, when the same time that everyone else is having to buy the fence, then it gets really expensive. So we had like $6,000 that we had to do, and so we ended up just opening up that card because it comes with a year of 0% interest, and then it had the sign up bonus of $250, and then 2% cash back on everything else. So that was actually kind of nice. So that's why I have the blue cash. So it definitely serves a purpose, but I'm definitely points wise. Now I agree with you. Vincent Pasquale had the Sapphire Burger and the Sapphire. This is their signature cocktail. I had mine non-alcoholic at JFK. Both were great. Interesting. Okay, that's good to know, Vincent. I forgot. So I got a beer. I forgot which one I got. Whatever their lager was they had on tap. And then I also got something. I might have had the Sapphire cocktail. And then I tried to order another one. So my third drink. And they just like it kept failing. Like I couldn't order it. I went to the bar there, and then they were just like, "Oh, we can't serve you." So I guess I had a 2 drink limit for that. So for some reason, but I also got the beer at the same time that I ordered the drink. So like the person that brought me the drink actually saw I already had the beer, so maybe they tagged me as being a booze hound or something. But yeah, no, I love the Sapphire Lounge. It's kind of small, but it's very like the chairs are comfortable. It's a good place to sit. Background balloon. Ooh, Johnny Walker Black. Fancy. I tried Four Roses Yellow Label. The budget. Oh, nice. The budget 80 proof one. And it was straight water. Yeah. So I went to Louisville with a friend of mine over the summer, and we went on a couple of the liquor, the whiskey or the bourbon tours, right? And I will have to say the Four Roses people, they really know how to put on a show, and it's very clear that they actually seem to care specifically about the single barrel experience. And so like if you actually you go to them, they have different mixes. They're like if you get a single barrel mix like at your local liquor store, it's probably going to be the specific like the one they mass market. But that's my favorite one, the single barrel one. But just the general one is definitely not my favorite. I agree with you on that one. So the food is always free at the lounges. I don't like. I don't want to say yes to like the blanket, but everything that I've seen at all the lounges I've been to has been free. The only thing that is kind of a cost, like some Delta Sky Clubs will charge you more for like mixed drinks or something like that. Now, the one at B Terminal in Atlanta, they actually will give you well mixed drinks and food and and beer and wine for free. But that's not a given at all Delta Sky Clubs. For example, the Delta Sky Club in Orlando is just beer and wine. And so that's the only thing that I've encountered that's not free. But I feel like there's an exception somewhere. Maybe like some of the escape lounges. I feel like maybe they do. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's one lounge where you have to pay, but all the ones I've been to, it's been free. Background blue, the mainline Jim Beam one, whatever the most popular bottle is, for half the price of the Four Rose bottle. Even that was better. Yeah. No, I agree with you. Jim Beam isn't bad. So I was given a Amex offer for something called Served Neat. So it's an online website where you can buy premium, liquors. And, they have a bottle of Blanton's for $109. And I really have to fight to not buy it, because that really just seems like I really want it, because so when I used to work at the Capitol Hill Club in Washington D.C., so I was a bartender at the tavern in the basement there. And the senators from Kentucky would always come in, and they'd be like, we only drink Blanton's. Like, okay, I guess I know what I gotta get. And so I've always kind of been a Blanton's guy. Like whenever my wife and I like we go to like Fleming's or something, we're celebrating something big, I get a Blanton's, which is a little bit of ice. Like a little bit of water kind of enhances the flavor in a certain way. And so I've done that, but yeah, no. I want to use that offer, but I don't know, $109 right now. There's a baby on the way. What am I doing buying a Blanton's? Philip, I live in Panama City, Florida, to complete 6-foot fence around my house. 3 weeks later, hurricane. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's rough. That is rough. At least, on the bright side, that fence didn't get old. It didn't look old and grubby, right? Uh, QC man, you probably hit your drink limit because you took off your shirt and started screaming in the middle of the lounge. Well, that may have had something to do with it. They told me to make myself at home, so Background balloon. I heard four rose single barrel is good too. Mass produced four rose. Yeah, no. What they do, what I think I remember I heard is that for like just the regular one, it's just kind of a blend of anything from 6 years to like they say up to 20 years. And I was like, I'm sure it's mostly just the 6 year stuff. And it's just pretty much whatever is, I think it's like the bottoms of the barrels are just kind of like mixed together and then put in those bottles. And so, but the single barrels I'm a fan of too. Fun fact, Costco has them for $40 a bottle, by the way. Is there a big storm coming? I don't know. That's, they kind of do a little bit. There's always a little bit of a storm coming. I don't know if there's one now. I haven't been paying attention too much. I probably should though. QC man, a lot of Priority Pass lounges, there's a 2 or 3 drink limit. Okay, before they start charging you, but even the subpar food is usually all free. Yeah. Most of the food at the Priority Pass lounges I've been to have not been terribly good. We're talking like crackers and chips and stuff. But it's still free is free, right? It's the silver lining. Yeah. Background balloon. So one day we're going to see a completed row of Blandon's horse in the background of your vid. Yeah, yeah. I went to what's the one that who's the company that makes Blanton's? It's Buffalo Trace. We went to Buffalo Trace too, and they actually had like you could buy like display cases for your Blanton's tops. And I was like, you know what? That's kind of cool. I like that. I live in Kentucky. I go down massive bourbon worm. Oh, I'm sure it's amazing how far you can go. It was funny. So we actually went to, we just randomly passed by the Wild Turkey distillery, and even they were like, "Oh, we're actually kind of fancy because we put honey in our bourbon." I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever." But yeah, no, there was a couple that were actually really, really cool. I loved that trip, but you can really see kind of a cultural difference between when we went to Four Roses, like. It was like their drinks that were on the tasting bar were just like you can have this one neat or you can have this one neat. And it was like the focus was on the different types of blends of bourbon. But then we went to say Woodford. So we went to the Woodford Reserve Visitor Center and we did something there. And like they were just like, here's what you can mix it with. And I was like, that's a very different approach to like how you're marketing your liquor, which I mean, Woodford's good. It's a good, standby. But I definitely really, really became a fan of Four Roses since then. I also have, what's another one that I have? I did recently get Jefferson's the upper tier one, and I'm not that much of a fan. I did try doing a scotch recently, so I got I forgot which scotch I got, and it was just fine. It wasn't as kind of it wasn't as complex as bourbon was. I like bourbon. All right. We're definitely far over the 5 minutes. I think that I was telling you I was going to shut things down. But okay, yeah, we still have some text. What's your most Florida man attribute? Like, do you own a pet alligator? Okay, you guys gonna laugh at me, but my wife and I we have 3 chickens in our backyard. And so we have a chicken coop, and so we actually have the 3 chickens. They give us the eggs, and we actually have kind of free eggs all the time, which is kind of nice. And but yeah, that's probably our most Florida man thing. Let's see, what's another Florida man thing I've done? Actually, so I did spend a summer in high school working as a dive master at a dive boat in Key Largo. That was pretty fun, and so I did that. Tips were actually pretty good. But yeah, those are my only Florida man things. One day we will see Whiskey Tribe collab with Philip and Sledge. Yeah, I'm into it. They actually get into it. Sledge and Key, they really start kind of getting into different types of bourbons and liquors and stuff. One of the fun things about being married to someone who's in advertising, though, is like the vendors send out free alcohol like nearly every Christmas. And so, basically my wife and I one year, we got a bottle of Camus, like the Camus Select, and like that was a nice bottle. Like we ended up making we did a dry aged ribeye, and had that with some sides and killed that bottle, and that was amazing. That was such a great time. And then last year they sent a bottle of Anejo tequila. I forgot what the brand is because it wasn't like a well known brand. And when I tried to figure out how much the bottle was, it was $300 retail. And that one's really good. It's the thing I don't like about tequila is it's a little bit on the sweeter side, but I definitely understand why kind of people get into sipping tequilas. It's definitely more interesting when they age them than just like straight tequila. So I definitely get that. So you're immune from eggflation. Yeah, so far. But no fights at the Waffle House. I haven't been in any this year. No, I haven't seen too many fights at Waffle House. But we're in the poor side of. So we're in Ocoee, and so basically, so that's kind of like it's funny because like it's kind of like this lawless hellscape in like all the best ways. So like nobody really everybody kind of does their own thing. We used to actually have like there's the overpass where the turnpike is. There used to be a bunch of people that just like sold barbecue out of their truck, and I called that the Ocoee farmers market because like somebody sold honey they made from their own bees and stuff, and it's really cool because you're like it's still kind of like farmers markety, but it's just like underneath an overpass somewhere with some guy named Juan. It's like it's kind of crazy. But yeah, no, Florida's great. It's lawless in all the fun ways, and a lot of laws in all the not so fun ways sometimes too. Randomly checked Amex just got the 100,000. That's amazing. Good, they have me talking too big of a butt. Yeah, that's amazing. I'm so glad to hear that. Did you take it? You should definitely take it, QC man. Okay, Jesse, when you go to a Waffle House, the very things that you need to be there are some crucial things you need to know about Waffle House. You have to go after midnight. You have to order the orange Fanta, and then you have to have your hash browns smothered and smothered and covered. Is that what the thing is? You have to have the cheese and the onions. But if you're gonna do Waffle House, it's got to be at midnight. You need to have somebody cuss at you, preferably if it's the cook. You're amazing, right? But yeah, no, Waffle House is just a whole other level. But yeah, no, Jesse, you've got to go. Actually, fun fact: one of my students was telling me that they always get the chocolate chip waffles when they go, and apparently they're quite nice. I don't know. All right. Well, if that's everything for everybody, I think we're closing in on 2 hours. So now I have to go celebrate because, like I said again, before I found out that I was on the live, I found out that the baby we're adopting is a boy. So now I'm going to go jump and scream and holler and be very excited about that in just a little bit. But thanks so much for being here with me, guys. I really appreciate talking with you. You guys are awesome. But yeah, Waffle House hash browns are on a whole nother level. Definitely taking it. Got some big spinning to do soon. Was hoping for the right offer. I'm so glad to hear that. It's real as I am. That's amazing. Yeah, the 100,000 point offer. That's enough for well, so you can get Virgin Upper Class tickets for as low as 35,000 points. You can get some Air France Business Class tickets for like 60,000 points. So, that's not bad either. But yeah, amazing. Congratulations to you too. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate you. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Thanks so much again for being here. You guys have been awesome. I love this community, and I love that I get to share awesome news like this with you guys. You guys are the best. All right, everybody. Have a great night, and I'll see you next weekend.